As I woke that morning, I knew there was something wrong. The curtains had been left open. On top of that, I was still fully dressed. It wasn't the most abnormal thing to awaken to, but it wasn't exactly normal for me. I lay dormant for a few seconds, before trying to get up. It was at this point that I realized I couldn't move my legs. I gave a couple of strained attempts to move them, but nothing happened. So I began to rock on my back, hoping that when I chucked myself off the bed, my legs would spring into action. But in the end, I found myself just rolling off the bed. Once on the floor, I started to think, what had happened to my legs? Then it hit me. I didn't remember a thing about last night. I managed to sit up. From here I could check out the room. From the carpet, I could tell this wasn't my house. And all this talk about curtains was nonsense, as I didn't have any curtains where I lived. I began to fear where I might be, and what the people in this house did to my legs. This is why I chose not to call out for help, but instead dragged myself to the window, hoping from looking out of it I may recognize where I am, or at least find out if I'm on the bottom floor, so I could escape from this hellhole. As I neared the window, I began to feel the carpet against my legs. I cursed softly under my breath, as it burned ever so slightly. I paused for a moment, realizing I had feeling in my legs again. Once satisfied that I had control over my legs, I moved to the crouched position, and headed slowly to the window. I stayed crouched under the window, with the plan to peer out undetected. Just before I did, I started to hear planes go overhead. Loads of them, one by one they flew past. About 5 seconds after the first plane passed, I started to hear bombs go off in the distance. This was soon followed by gunshots, which sounded close and getting closer still. I stayed low, below the window, not wanting to be detected. I began to panic and wonder what was going on, what had happened. Was I in the middle of a war? I might have been able to get some sort of answer if I just looked out the window, but I was too frightened. I decided to leave the room and face whatever terror might await me inside the house. I found myself upstairs in this house, with one door to the right and a way down, plus 3 other doors to my left, one of which was open. A mirror was in clear sight inside the room. I thought I could check to see if I'd been in a coma, by checking for any signs of aging. I moved towards the open door with extreme caution. I took a quick gander down the stairs as I passed. As I reached the entrance to the room, I gave myself a second to prepare, before bursting in like a member of a SWAT team. There was no one in this room, so I quickly shut and locked the door for safety. I glared at myself in the mirror, checking for any signs that more than one day had passed. I determined that it was the next day, and that this war had sprung up overnight. That is, if I am still in the same country. As I went to exit the room, I realized that the gunshots were a lot quieter in this room, and came to the conclusion that I may be able to leave this house safely if there's an exit at this side of it. I left the room and headed for the stairs. As I reached the bottom, I saw what I believed to be the front door, and as I passed it to head to the other end of the house, I heard somebody knock. I stopped and thought I should answer it, but chose not to. After all, this wasn't my house, so it was no concerns to me. I saw another exit and almost ran towards it. Luckily, the door was unlocked and I was able to leave the house, only to find myself trapped in the garden. All I could hear was gunfire and bombs going off in the distance. With all the gunfire coming from behind me, I decided to head to the back of the garden, to find out that fortune had favored me again, as the gunfire slowly got quieter. Just as I was about to leave the garden, my luck quickly changed, as I found the exit blocked by little white minions, which could have only come from Satan himself. Could this be what all the gunfire was about? Had hell rose up? Was Satan trying to rule the world? I found myself trapped between these little white devils and whatever madness was going on the other side of this house.
Your fear of long words. This is the name of your phobia.
Stop!
Oh.